Hey friends, it's your favorite certified financial planner, Rochelle Smith. Listen, did you all see the Clark Sisters movie? It was really good. It was really good. And if you're like me, you're craving for more. And so hopefully it'll be bigger. Maybe they can make it a mini series or a bigger movie. I don't know, but I want more. I want to know more about Dr. Maddie Clark and her girls. I learned some great money lessons, and I wanted to share those with you all. First of all, Twinkie sold her catalog. It was a bad mistake. Twinkie sold her catalog, and I think maybe she got a car, maybe a Lincoln or a Cadillac, and the promise of a solo career. But as Dr. Clark said, she gave away a fortune. She gave away assets for her, money for herself, for her sisters, and even future inheritance for their children and grandchildren. What you want to do in a case like that, if you have a catalog or let's say memorabilia or something that's very important that could provide a fortune or future monies for children and grandchildren, it's for the entire family. You want to make sure that before any transactions on those types of assets are made, that 2 or 3 people have to sign off, or maybe there's some sort of vote. Whatever the case may be, you want to make sure you have that hold up, wait a minute kind of moment before these assets pass on. We need to make sure that we dot our I's and cross our T's. So having 2 or 3 people sign off, or some sort of vote, or just having something in place before assets disappear from the family fortune will be the best thing for you and your family, and it allows you to not make a bad mistake for future inheritance. The second thing, I know a lot of people do it. I'm not saying that it's bad, but elective surgery is happening more and more. In this case, in the movie, Karen had an elective procedure and it didn't go well. As a matter of fact, I think the doctor said she had like a 2% chance of survival. If you're going to have an elective surgery, or really any type of surgery, you want to make sure that you have a living will. A living will is a legal document, and it details what your medical treatment should be if things don't go well. So resuscitate, do not resuscitate, if there's some sort of feeding tube, or if you're on a ventilator and maybe you desire to not have any of those things done, you can have those things detailed in your living will. That will be helpful for your family as well, because you're not leaving that hard decision for someone else to make. And a lot of times family members don't always get along. They don't always agree on what should happen in that case. You can take care of that in advance. The third thing that we saw, a couple of the girls had bad relationships, bad marriages, emotionally and or physically. And again, these are the Clark sisters. They had assets. So if you're a mom or a dad or even a grandparent and you want to pass assets on to your children, and maybe you're concerned about their spouse or the potential for a divorce, you can put those assets in a trust. Assets in a trust are not available for creditors, so creditors have to keep their hands off, and that's a way of making sure that a spouse or an ex-spouse does not get your child's assets. Those assets go to the person that you desire. Also with a trust, remember Denise Nisi in the movie? She kind of pulled back from the family because they didn't agree on her lifestyle. As a Christian family, they felt like she made some mistakes and they just didn't agree with the way that she was living her life, and she wanted to live her best life the way that she wanted to live it. If you have a child that may be struggling with, say, alcohol issues or drug issues, and they're living the life that they want to live that you don't necessarily agree with, again, you can have their assets left in a trust. Not only that, you can go a little further. You can dictate when they are able to touch those assets, or when those assets can be distributed to them. So it can be that, hey, maybe, your child's 21 and you see that they're not doing well and they're going to need a little time to clean up and to get it together. If something were to happen to you as a parent or a grandparent, you may put in your trust that you want those assets to go to that child when they're 25, or maybe a portion when they're 25, and then the next portion when they're 30, and the remainder when they're 35, whatever age you think is appropriate. But you do have that as an option. So again, if you have a child that you don't necessarily like their lifestyle and you think they're going to need a little time to grow up and clean up, there is a way that you can protect your assets so that they don't get them before you think they can handle them. There's a lot more to this. So there are so many money lessons that I learned from the Clark Sisters movie that I'm going to come back with a part 2 to this video. In the meantime, hopefully somebody's out there listening and they're working on that mini series that I mentioned earlier. I want to hear from you, and I hope that you want to hear more from me. Please follow me at Rochelle Smith. I'm on Facebook, I'm on Twitter, I'm on Instagram, I'm on LinkedIn. Again, at Rochelle Smith, or you can contact me through rochellesmith.com.